What you do when a dismissive avoidant pulls away. A dismissive avoidant pulling away can feel like emotional whiplash. One day they seem present, engaged, and connected. The next day they become distant, quiet, and emotionally unavailable without any clear explanation. And if you do not understand what is happening you can easily make choices that push them even further away. The first thing you do when a dismissive avoidant pulls away is resist the urge to chase. This is often the hardest step because your instincts tell you to close the distance immediately. You want answers, reassurance, and proof that the connection is still there. But chasing usually increases their feeling of pressure and causes them to retreat even more. The more they feel cornered emotionally, the stronger their desire becomes to create space. What makes this difficult is that silence often feels personal. You begin wondering if you did something wrong or said the wrong thing. Your mind starts filling the gaps with fear assumptions and worst-case scenarios. But in many cases, the avoidant is not pulling away because of something you did. They are pulling away because emotional closeness has triggered discomfort within themselves. Dismissive avoidants often value independence above almost everything else. When relationships become deeper, they can experience a sense of losing freedom or control. Even healthy intimacy can activate fears they do not fully understand. As a result, they create distance not because they stop caring, but because distance temporarily helps them regulate their internal discomfort. The second thing you do is stop trying to force emotional conversations. Many people believe that if they can just get the avoidant to talk, everything will improve. Unfortunately, timing matters more than pressure in these situations. When someone is already withdrawing, emotional demands often make them feel overwhelmed, and overwhelmed people rarely become more emotionally available. Instead of repeatedly asking what is wrong, focus on becoming emotionally grounded yourself. This does not mean ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to let another person's withdrawal completely dictate your emotional state. Your stability becomes your greatest strength during moments of uncertainty, because emotional panic usually creates more problems than it solves. The third thing you do is pay attention to patterns instead of promises. Many dismissive avoidants can express affection when things feel comfortable. They may say all the right things during moments of connection, but what matters most is not what happens during emotional highs. What matters is how they handle emotional challenges and difficult conversations. A person's character is often revealed when relationships become complicated. Anyone can appear loving when everything feels easy and effortless. The real test comes when vulnerability, responsibility, and emotional consistency are required. This is where many dismissive avoidants struggle the most. And recognizing this pattern helps you see reality more clearly. Another important step is refusing to abandon your own needs. Many people become so focused on understanding the avoidant that they forget themselves. They start accepting less communication, less effort, and less emotional reciprocity. Over time, they convince themselves that asking for basic relationship needs is unreasonable. But healthy relationships require consideration from both people. When a dismissive avoidant pulls away, you should not immediately lower your standards. You should not convince yourself that crumbs of attention are enough. You should not silence your own feelings simply to maintain the connection. Relationships survive through mutual effort, not through one person constantly adapting. Your emotional needs matter just as much as theirs. It is also important to understand the difference between space and avoidance. Healthy space is temporary, intentional, and respectful. Avoidance is often indefinite, confusing, and emotionally inconsistent. Someone taking healthy space usually communicates their intentions clearly. Someone avoiding accountability often leaves you guessing and overthinking. That distinction can save you months or even years of emotional confusion. Because many people wait endlessly for someone who keeps repeating the same cycle. They mistake temporary hope for genuine progress. And they spend enormous amounts of energy trying to decode behavior that never truly changes. Patterns always reveal more than isolated moments. The fourth thing you do is allow consequences to exist. Many dismissive avoidants have become accustomed to others chasing after them. They expect people to keep reaching out no matter how distant they become. When this happens, they never fully experience the consequences of emotional withdrawal. And without consequences, unhealthy patterns often continue indefinitely. Allowing consequences does not mean punishment or revenge. It simply means respecting reality. If someone consistently creates distance, they may also create distance in the relationship itself. And if they choose not to nurture connection, the connection naturally weakens. That is not cruelty, but the natural result of repeated choices. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they can love an avoidant into change. Love is powerful, but it cannot do another person's emotional work for them. You cannot heal wounds they refuse to acknowledge. You cannot create self-awareness for someone who continually avoids reflection. And you cannot build intimacy alone. Real change only happens when the avoidant becomes willing to examine their own patterns. It happens when they recognize the cost of emotional distancing. It happens when they choose growth over self-protection. And most importantly, it happens because they want to change, not because someone pressured them into it. The final thing you do when a dismissive avoidant pulls away is remember your worth. Their withdrawal is not a measurement of your value. Their emotional limitations do not define your attractiveness, intelligence, or lovability. Many amazing people have spent years questioning themselves because of avoidant behavior. But another person's inability to connect consistently is not proof that you are lacking. The strongest response to an avoidant pulling away is not chasing, begging, or proving yourself. It is remaining calm, maintaining your standards, and staying connected to your own life. It is allowing people to make their choices while you make yours. And it is understanding that healthy love should not require you to constantly earn basic emotional availability. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to stop an avoidant from pulling away. The goal is to build a life where someone else's withdrawal no longer controls your peace. And when you reach that point, something powerful happens. You stop fearing distance because you finally realize your emotional security does not depend on whether someone stays or leaves.